trying to
That's okay.
make sure I share my page when you get on. Because there's a way you can do it on here, but I'm gonna wait. I see.
Okay. So, hello, guys. It is our Work Till We Win Wednesday. And yes, we are on with the phenomenal Dionne Carroll, guys. Listen, I am not going to hold us up. We're going to jump right on in this thing. We're going to get into the thick of it. Now, I know Dionne Carroll personally because we went to high school together and then met up again later on in life and have become very good friends. However, sometimes you know your friends, and you see their potential, but when you see them break out of their shell and step on into their purpose, into their greatness, into their calling, it's a whole nother world. So, guys, I introduce to you all my good friend, author Dionne Carroll. Now, I told you guys in my introduction to her on the audios that she has a host of accolades. So I'm going to let her run through those things right now because listen, this lady is phenomenal. So Dionne, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. How did we go from where we were to where we are in terms of like what you do for a living?
Awesome, girl. I want to give it back to you. Thank God for you and your friendship that we have encountered over the years. Yes, we've been knowing each other, but we came very close when we came out here in Texas. I want to even thank you for that because even with that, you still got to thank the people that's in your lives that poured into you, that gave you anything that you're going through. Sometimes it might be that one or two person that's pouring into you, that's praying for you. So all of that comes to even to this day. Yes, I'm an educator. I'm an educator by day. Been in elementary education for long in middle school. And what I wanted to say for this has been a phenomenal time for me right now today as I'm speaking, because I would have never have done this before in my life. I'm an educator by day. I'm an entrepreneur in my heart, soul, and gut. The education comes with it because I'm still educating myself, and I love going into the classroom and pouring that into kids as well, because our creativity needs to come out. Our creativity needs to come out. So I started my entrepreneur career, I want to say about 15, I'm going to say mostly all my life. I'm going to say when 16 years old, and Miss Pryor, if you know her, she started my journey of entrepreneurship, because her words was, you have a product and service, you'll never be broke. We was traveling, 11 and 12th grade year, and she it was a lot. And so she said, we're going to sell some product on campus. At the school, we're going to sell some pickles, potato chips, candy. All you got to do is make that one purchase, and we're going to sell it, and you're going to put it on your account so we don't burden our parents. So that's how my entrepreneur career had gotten started, and I have been doing it ever since. I have always had something. Even with a job, I have had something that I was going to work with, that I was going to do, because I just love the feel of giving people things that they're in need of at that time or want. I get a joy out of that. If it's selling the house and I see the smile, I'm happy. It's the insurance, they're getting something for their kids' legacy. I mean, it just gives me so much joy to give people when they in their need and want, and I can be able to service them with that.
Amazing. Listen, I feel you on that education and that entrepreneurship, girl. And listen, those kids, that's where my heart is. So I feel you. Give them everything that they need to be entrepreneurs themselves. So we're going to get right on into this interview. Can you tell us what motivated you to become a part of the Hidden Figure Collective and inspired you to contribute to it?
Awesome. And I gotta what I want to say about that is this book has given me life, because I am on here. I'm on here in chapter 3, but there's 10 other ladies on here, and all of them have a story. And when I heard some of their stories, and and me, having one, everybody have one, it just gave me, it inspired me to want to, be a part of this collective. Listen to all of the other women, even my mentor, my coach on here, the visionary of this book, Yolanda Adams. When she had called me at that moment, I was just going through some things that I never thought I would go through. I just didn't think it was a good time. And just like I said, getting into the right environments and having the right people to push you through that, she said, oh, this is the right time. This is the time that God wants you to do this. And then when you've been having visions in all your life and writing things down, I have always wanted to be part of a book. I wanted to write one on my own, to be the author, or just be part of one, to be in one. But this is when the story is going to unbreak with this. Once you get to know and read the chapter 3, and you'll know why this would inspire anybody. If you could even remember the movie, The Hidden Figures, the Hidden Figures, when the ladies who was actually, doing the work, but they was behind the scene. How many of us are behind the scene? We do so much, but we behind the scenes. So this is what broke free for me and inspired me, just listening to all of the others and their trials and tribulation behind the scene, but still making things happen. So this is what made me want to do the same thing. I'm behind the scene, you behind the scene, but we making things happen.
Absolutely.
So because we it's not about the whistles and the bells and being on here and the money. It's about just impacting lives.
Absolutely. You hit that right on the head. Now, listen, let's get into it, because there are times that I can recall coming out of college with my skill sets, prepared to go into the workforce. And I get in and I see people who seem larger than life. And I found myself being timid about things I thought or that I felt. And so I could relate to the part of your chapter, moving from timidity to confidence. So in your chapter, you discuss breaking free from the opinions of others. Can you share a personal experience you had to overcome, where you had to overcome timidity and found your inner strength?
Oh yes, and it took me some time, Rene, because everybody, who knows me personally, timid is me, and I can still shell back sometimes because I feel myself kind of timid. Don't want to touch that because my feelings may get hurt. I cry fast. I make that known right now. I'm a fast. My tears up very fast. But being timid to confidence, how many times? And I can think about as children, even think about as a little girl. We had dreams along the way. We wanted, and talk to a child now. I want to do this when I grow up. I want to be this when I grow up. And we had dreams, but along the way, what you think happened to those dreams? People started getting in our ear. We started watching TV, thinking things are real on TV, getting in our spirit. We started looking at people. They do it like this. Somebody asked me to speak in front of something. I said, oh no, I can't do that. I can't even come behind that person because they speak so well in public. Right. So I get timid. So this is what I had to break free from. And I can tell you this, what it started me being more timid in college, business major. We do a lot of presentations. I had one student, one guy, he would tease me after this presentation. Every time, the whole semester, he would see me on the yard. I say the yard because HBCU college. Yes. And he would make fun of that presentation every time. Every time I would avoid him. So just imagine an 18, 20-year-old child had me timid for so long and didn't want to speak in front of anything because of that fear that was put in me. Fear is it's false. It's false. It's put in us in our mind from other things that we think of. And this is why we have to break free from other people's opinion. Their opinion don't even matter. Because the vision is given to you.
So what advice would you give someone who was struggling with self-doubt and seeking to build their own self-confidence?
Well, when I normally do with that, I tell people to change their environment. a lot of self-development. When you read and truly spend time with God, and you see the word that He has for you, and in Jeremiah 29:11, the plan is to prosper you. Fear is nowhere near in that. And I found myself surrounding myself in entrepreneurship. This is why I even love it so much, because we get around other people that's doing it already. They has to motivate themselves because they're not on a job where that's on job training. So we have to, recommend different books to each other, or read. How many times we did that? Or read this book, read that book. And then we start building confidence. Then we start getting around people who are bold and confident, who have done that. And that strength rubs on you. That's why it is so important to watch your environment, watch the company that you keep, because energy is contagious. Me and you had traveled around the world around, entrepreneurs who did that and done that. And the energy and the vibe is just so there that, you could look up and say, well, they did that and they tell me they did that and you can do that. Well, then you can do it too. So I tell people to, get into environments where people have already done that, did that, and get around that energy.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So moving forward, another part of the chapter that I liked was the emergence of assertiveness. How did you discover the importance of your own assertiveness?
Rene, this year has been a trial for me when I had to just get into a very quiet place. And I got into that quiet place. It was not my choice at all. So when I started seeking God and God started seeking me, I just started just finding my voice in that. Getting into that place where I need to be heard. Getting into that place and I need to hear God's voice speaking to me. Getting into that one-on-one relationship with Him, with nobody else. He stopped me from traveling for some time. Stopped me from getting on Zoom calls. Just stop me in my tracks so I can really get back to Him. Get back to my first love. And that's when He started pouring things in me. I was sleeping, wake up and just start writing things down. This is how, I started my voice just started becoming alive. All the things that I dreamed of, it just started coming alive because I started seeking more. And the more and more I seek and the more and more He gave me that was already inside of me.
He says, seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. Come on, take us to church, baby. So, what are some practical steps individuals can take to unleash their voice for personal freedom and empowered confidence?
With that being said, I always, like I said, I go back to the Word of God and the self-development books. And you got to also keep yourself some journals. There's some things that you need to say. You need to first write them down. Write the vision down, make it plain. And secondly, you're going to speak those things that be not as though they were. You're going to speak it every day. That's going to be the I can statements. That's going to be the I am statements. That's going to be everything that that God has already told you is already done. You saw it already. It's already done. So now you got to just take the necessary steps to get there. So that's going to be the I can statements. That's going to be the I am statements. That's going to just speaking your truth. Speaking those things that be not as though they were, it's already done. You just going towards that truth right now. You just going towards that freedom right now. And that's breaking the glass ceiling right there. Because a lot of, when we think about it, Rene, think about the things that we have always wanted. We have created this ourselves in our own minds. We have been trapped in our own minds. I have to get out my own mind all day because some things will be coming up. I'm like, where did that come from?
The trapped in your own mind.
That you just created something, and that's not going to even happen. And now you depressed. Now you got anxiety. All it because you created that thought. That thought ain't not even about to happen.
And so it's like that fear, that what they say, false evidence appearing real fear. So you take this one little thing and you let your mind run and your emotions run with that thing. And you done created a whole world that does not exist. That is crazy. But
that is, girl. That's why I say they say take that thought captive and you better get rid of and cast it down immediately. don't even let it go even further, because I done created so many things about my girl. I done convinced myself that it's true, and it ain't even happened. Not happen. I just had one of my friends, and he had said, you're not gonna put that charge on me because that's what you think and thought, because that's what you thought up.
The overthinking mind, right? Gotta unchain that overthinking mind.
That's
So
it.
what are some strategies you recommend for reclaiming like just the assertive side of oneself? Like how to like there's a part in the book where you talked about silent screams, and I can really relate to that because there's so many times, like I'm an opinionated person, but in my household growing up, like my mom would be like, if I'm talking, you be quiet and you don't have time to explain yourself. Like we weren't given a voice. And oftentimes we give our kids, now that we have kids, we give our kids that voice that we didn't have. But for me, I often had to suppress my voice, and I found that spilled over into other areas of my life. So tell me how, like that silent scream, that suppression of your voice, how did it impact you personally and professionally?
Yeah, you see, dreams. When we think about dreams, that silent voice, dreams. We rest them on shelves. We put them in our minds and we leave them there. I have known people that went to the grave and just had dreams and things they want to speak about and say and just never did. So, that's why I say, silent screams. We actually screaming. We want to say this. We want to do this, but we just don't. We just don't, because maybe the way we grow up, I can actually share this, being an entrepreneur. I didn't want to be, tied to nobody's job, but my family came from jobs, 401k, retirement plans. So, and then they send you to college, and that's what they tell you: go to college, you're going to get a good job, and you got to do the same thing. It's a repeat cycle. But, God created us to be creative, to be creative. Other people who created the jobs, yes, we work for them, but they created that job. What are you going to create for yourself? So those are the dreams. And I say the silent scream, because we have so much in us that we just not letting out. Like you said, you probably had to hold some stuff in that you couldn't get out because you was not supposed to speak. We gave our children room, because I definitely my daughter showed me this, that, even when she was coming up, she wanted to share her side of the story. Because there's always two sides of stories, even in school. There's going to be the teacher side, it's going to be the kid side. So we do owe them to share their side of the story as well, just like going into a courtroom. So by nature, we are communicative beings. We actually thrive when we can speak our truth, when we can express ourselves. I know I do, because for a long time when I didn't, it was like a burden. And then it causes conflicts in relationships because you're not sharing your whole truth. And then so that way the relationship is going down because you're not sharing what you really thought. And I can't be, I don't understand I don't read minds. I don't
Girl,
read
this
minds.
is
So
good.
just best communicate the information. And even with me, communicate the information. It says mean what you say and say what you mean. And that's how I say I break the silence up in anything that's in me, because I'm going to speak it now. I just, it gave me the confidence to do that, because I feel good when I'm, communicating now. I feel good when I can speak, what God has given me to speak. So those are the things I tell people. Just, you got to break free from that, because communication, it opens up doors and opportunities.
My professor used to say communication rules the nation.
Ooh,
and,
right there.
and listen, it helped me to break free of the chains that was put on my voice. But what I had to learn to do was speak effectively and give communication that was not, like, if it was a situation where I wanted to be heard, I had to make my communication not in a way that felt like that other person felt like they were blamed or backed in a corner, but make my statements statements. I felt, I thought, I this. So it's not on that person, it's on me And this is why I thought this, and this is why I felt this. When I can communicate that on the job, in my home, to my friends, like you said, it feels good. And then when I can come on and I can give back to others through a platform like this, it makes me feel good because I have found my voice and have found effective ways to unchain my dreams and allow those dreams to speak. So I love it. Now, this, Steve, I have to tell you, Miss Dionne Carroll, this was one of my favorite sections of your chapter. Conflict as a catalyst. Using conflict or disagreements for personal growth, to leverage your personal growth. Can you explain how you can leverage conflicts to gain personal growth? Can you explain how you explained it in the book? Break it down for us.
Exactly. And of course, I'm gonna give you a little bit because I want people to buy the book, because I promise you, every story in here is gonna touch your soul. When I think about breaking free from those things, I think about even the trials and tribulation I went through this year, even trying to get this book. It was a challenge even putting it on paper. It was a challenge writing it because of the way I felt. A lot of times we want to go on how we feel, and then we don't want to do the thing. But this is the time that God really reveals himself. You know how this, I can do all things through Christ. That's my thing now. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So whatever I'm going through, even when I'm going through that thing, if there's a task to do that God has put in me, I need to do it while I'm going through. And that shows me right there, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Because I couldn't have done this by myself. I wouldn't have done this if I had to go on the feelings of what I was going through at that moment and at that time. And at this time, and the whole time I'm going through this, because it took like 9 months, almost a baby, to get this out with all of us. It took like 9 months to push. And then when we pushed, the 9 months of the first trimester is normally hard. Then the second trimester, it gets a little easier, but you're still feeling that pressure. And then the last trimester, when it's time to push, you in labor now. So it's even getting harder. It's even getting tougher. You even feeling the tense of it right now. You're crying, you're emotional, you're depressed, you're anxiety, but you're still writing. But but I'm still praising God, but I'm still praying. So I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And he had to get me to that point to know what those words really mean, because we say them all the time, but what does that mean? And it means everything I had just went through, but I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Because I could, during this time, and you already know, I was going through some stuff I never thought I would go through. But with this coming through and birthing at the same time, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. That's it right there, baby.
You said something so important. I cannot move past it, because you said these words. When I was going through, when we, the whole group, when we were going through, we still had to keep pressing, and we still had to take care of what was at hand. A lot of times we say, well, it's not the right time because things are not aligning, or it's not the right time because I don't have enough money. It's not the right time because my family is going through something right now. But what you just said, that is, those women, including yourself, regardless to what was going on, you kept going. You kept moving. You kept doing a little bit at a time. You kept going through the pregnancy process and the pains of being pregnant with purpose. You kept going. We have to learn as a people, not just women, just people, right. To keep going.
That's right.
Even though it gets hard. And I have to tell you, it blessed me. It made me have to repent, because there was a situation that happened maybe some 7 years ago when I went through it. it hit me so hardly. I mean, it seemed like a little thing, but it hit me so in the core of myself
Mm-hmm.
that it made me have to rethink everything. And in that process, I just stopped. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped. Let me tell you, I just stopped. But when I read it, I said, you know what? Now that's growth. And it shows me now that when I go through things, and even right now, as I'm putting things back together and I'm moving forward with multiple projects, it's not perfect,
Right.
but I'm using that conflict as a motivator to
Exactly.
keep me moving forward. So listen, give me some examples besides the book that may have served to be the catalyst for other areas of personal growth. Maybe your spiritual life, maybe your health. Can you talk to us a little bit about those things?
Yes, and I can tell you one thing. For us, the spiritual growth, that's like the number one on my list because I always, know God, praise God. I'm a prayer warrior, but during this catalyst times, I spent more time with Him. He had to remove me from a lot of things just to get back to Him, and that was the whole purpose. And when you go through things, you got to realize it's not even for you because this is gonna, like you say, bless and help somebody else who may not know how to come out of things, may not, just wobble in it and don't move forward while they're going through things. So it has definitely helped my spiritual growth. My health and wellness is still going. I'm always on top of that. Even with that, we talked about this traveling in the car, things that we put in our body. We're trying to make some changes, more changes with that, because when you get clear and spending time with God, you get more clear and get revelation on a lot of things in life. Even with people, the perspective of life, the things that happen, the food that we eat, that we put in our bodies. It's just certain things, a lot of things during this challenging time that I have put more things in perspective for me and myself. Because when he said my ladder is going to be greater, like I say, I just had to really step back and listen to him and really surrender to his will. So that's where I'm at, right now, with the book, and just like I said, some other projects gonna, that's coming, being birthed from this. In the meantime, um
Yes,
putting a course together, based on this as well, to help other people unchain their minds and break the chains that's got them bound, break the glass
yes,
ceiling. You can go to your limits
yes,
and your height. So I got some other things, that God has put in me that I got to birth, and
absolutely.
we got, and that's why we do it, and then we do it for, for His glory. I give Him all the honor and the glory for this. This is for His glory. Everything I do is for His glory. If going on a job and teaching, them kids gonna be moving on us real fast, but I do this for His glory. These are His
Yes,
children. What you want me to teach them? Tell me what I need to do with them. And even with that, some of them, all of them assigned to you, but it might be just one that's mainly assigned to you for that season, that purpose. So we got to be intentional about how we live. We got to be intentional on the things that we do in life, because God, this is all Him. I give Him all the honor and the glory.
oh, I am so absolutely proud of you. Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
doing this interview with me, for taking time out of your day to discuss your book. Listen, y'all, if you see the ticker on the bottom of the screen, you can purchase Miss Carroll's book at http:// Yes, I'm giving you the whole website, unchainedmind.org. Listen, you want to go and get this book. You understand, I am her girl, and I am looking at my friend and the growth that my friend had and the growth that my friend's words are allowing me to have. Y'all, I promise you, if you ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt misunderstood, if you've misunderstood yourself, this book, not listen, the Unchained Minds is going to take you somewhere. But every one of these women have something to say. And when you read, it will transform your thinking and get you back on the road to moving forward. Now, I know you heard Miss Carroll talk a lot about God, and some of you may not know him. Some of you don't even understand that the great I am is purposeful and he's on the inside of you. A lot of times we're looking for him out in the sky, but baby, he's on the inside of you. So when you go inside of yourself and move yourself away from others so that you can be still. Listen, Miss Carroll gave us some pointers. She said, we're going to be still. We're going to get away from others. We're going to be still. We're going to be quiet. We're going to get the journal and we're going to write. And in that writing, she told you God gave her things to do, and this book was one of them. He is waiting for you to come sit still and be quiet. So when you come out of your quiet time, you can walk in that same confidence and power that I see my very good friend walking in. So guys, get the book, get the book, get the book. This has been another Work Till We Win Wednesday, guys. I cannot wait to see what her next project is going to be and have her on again. With that, we bid you guys a great and marvelous night.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.